Welcome to the Occupational Safety Leadership Podcast, episode number 294. And in today's episode, let's just take a few seconds to talk about the difference between goals and objectives. So, um, I'm not sure that I'd say all of us, but most of us have goals. A lot of these goals are goals that we as safety professionals want to work towards. Some are dictated by the corporation and we have to follow them. So some are going to come from up high, some are going to be ones that we create at the site. But I think it's super important to have goals and objectives. But in today's, let's just kind of talk about the difference. So a goal is kind of the big picture, you know. And when I think of examples of this, we're going to reduce workplace injuries and illnesses. Awesome. Everybody wants to do that. And that's just a goal. That doesn't literally say this is how we're going to measure it. These are the things we're putting in place, whatever. So it's a goal. It's a big picture. Another big picture one, strengthen safety culture and employee engagement. Again, that's something that we want to do, and that's great, but we haven't really added anything measurable right there then. So um, let's see. Think here of a third. We want to ensure compliance with all safety regulations. Again, awesome, great, and all that. I'd also say that that's the minimum. There's a lot of things that are not a regulation out there that we should be following because that's just a great way of doing business. We want to reduce, and not just reduce, but it would be awesome to eliminate any injuries. So let's kind of talk about objectives. Objectives are going to be those measurable actions. What are we going to do that we can literally say we're measuring something? Goal again, big picture. Objective, we're going to measure something then. So when we think about measuring ones, there's like a lot of things like you could think about the SMART system, specific, measurable, all that kind of stuff. Then let's just talk about examples in this one here. Um, so one that we could do that you could measure is conduct monthly safety inspections and have 100% follow up. That's something that you can sit down and measure. You can say safety inspection done, following things were deficient, and here's the follow up action. Very specific. We can go back and measure that then. So other ones, we want to the increase employee hazard reporting by 25% in the next 12 months. So we've taken it, we're measuring it. We also have an anchor. We don't want to say something like we're just going to measure by 25%, not really have an ending point then, that we want to say because things do take time to implement. They do take time to get out. They do take time for employees to say, oh, this is something that is important. I'm now on board. There's a lot of employees that um, they've been there for a long time and they've heard a lot of safety goals and objectives. And not that they don't want to do that, but they just want to really see like how serious is the company in doing this then, because they've heard and seen a lot of these over the years then. So and then finally the third one, we want to provide annual training with the 95% completion rate then. So ideal world, you'd want 100% completion rate, but I get it. As humans, things happen. We sicknesses, we deal with family issues outside of the workplace. All kinds of stuff. So it's really hard to say it's going to be 100%, of course. In this scenario, then. So it doesn't mean that you're not following up, then, of course, and making it 100%. But if you're going to define it and say in 30 days, in 60 days, in 90 days, whatever. Or you're going to say the new hires will um, pass the safety orientation test, the dot, 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 So just a little recap then. So a goal, big picture, kind of broad, kind of setting the vision. Objectives, how are we going to get there, right? Measurable things that we can go back and do then, So um, everybody can have great lofty goals and all that, but you got to have a game plan. You got to have a way that we're going to get from point A to point B. Also, I think it's better to plan too much as opposed to planning too little out there. Some people may have these safety goals, and because they feel so much pressure to get things done, they feel it's part of the performance review that it has to be done, and everything else, that sometimes they choose goals that they know they're going to accomplish in the first 30 days just so that they can say, done. I got my goals done. I've achieved everything. I should get a larger raise, bonus, whatever the deal is then. So that does happen out there. I think it's better to have uh, really difficult goals and not get there as opposed to these really easy softball goals, because the the overall goal, of course, as we talk about goals and objectives, so the overall goal, the big picture, is to make the workplace safer, not to take it easy on yourself then. So with that, let's wrap it up. I'm starting to drone on. I'd like to thank everybody for joining me. My name is Dr. David Ayers. Thank you, and have a safe day.